Now, Drew,
Yes.
I want to sort of announce some news of yours for you. Okay.
Okay.
So
Okay.
to start, you and I typically beat a video game once every 4 years, and it's
Yeah.
usually a 2-hour game. And from what I've gathered, in our recent conversations, you've beaten 3 video games.
Yeah, three
Now,
2 hour.
see, there it is. Cat's out of the bag. Now, we've already etched this accomplishment into our imaginary stone wall of victories. But what we've yet to do is tell our listeners out there what games these are.
Yeah,
Now,
man.
and what made them special enough to have you beat them. So you have 3 months of PlayStation Plus, and without further ado, Drew, let's start with game 1. Tell us what the game is, give us a consensus, and then tell me and our devoted listeners how you accomplished this beating of a game that we are still becoming familiar with. I'm all ears.
All right. So the first game is Carrion, which
Tetsuo's Arm.
Yes. I played that on the Xbox using Xbox Game Pass. All of these games were played on the Xbox. I've been taking advantage of Game Pass lately. It's pretty great. If you're interested in playing games without buying them, I mean, obviously you have that subscription model that you're working with, so it's a little like Netflix in that respect. I'm still working my way through that massive deal from the beginning of the year where you like upgrade and your Xbox Live account and you get like, many months for $1 of the Game Pass. So Carrion is essentially a unique twist on the Metroidvania formula, where you're playing as a hideous monster. You don't really get too much in the way of detail. There's not any dialogue in the game directly. There are some flashbacks that you go through where you're playing as scientists kind of unearthing this. And I think I may have missed 1 or 2 of the flashbacks because there's some gaps in the story that I don't really have fleshed out. But you are this creature, and it's unclear whether you are an alien from another world or something that is dug up from the earth or just a scientific experiment gone wrong. I think that's where my flashbacks failed me. But you break out of this underground facility and start slaughtering everybody. And you start out by slaughtering scientists, and then eventually you start encountering people that are armed with like handguns. And then you start to encounter military that have like automatic weapons. And then you encounter military that have flamethrowers. And this entire time you're using stealth and misdirection and the ability to crawl through vents and up walls to attack and get out of this facility and make it to basically the mainland.
Dude, this is totally like a sequel to Inside.
Very much so. Very much so. It is a Devolver Digital published game. It is developed by Phobia Game Studios. I'm not sure what they've done previously. Their Wikipedia doesn't exist. So if anybody's listening and they're familiar with them, please let us know. It's an indie game developer based out of Warsaw, Poland.
That's cool.
The game does have a very inside feel in a lot of ways. It's a dark, depressing, moody game. But it's a very different experience because if you're familiar with the Metroidvania formula, basically you're given a 2D platform to work with that has you go from screen to screen, and as you're going through the game, you start unlocking abilities that will grant you access to certain areas that you didn't previously have access to. So you have to backtrack to kind of get to the next power up, and you find yourself kind of going all over the map, getting these different abilities so that you can go back to an area that you were previously in that you could not access the first time, and it brings you all over the place, right? And some of the abilities are really cool. At your base level, all you can do is kind of like grab things with your tentacle and eat them. So this is definitely like a kind of like a Cthulhu inspired kind of thing. You're this red monster with these tentacles, and you grab people by the legs and you like literally eat them, and you shake your many mouths as you're eating them and throw their torso in one direction and their legs in another. And it's all very 16-bit, so you're not going to see anything that's going to necessarily give you vivid nightmares, maybe.
Sure 8-bit violence.
Yeah, 8-bit violence. And then eventually you upgrade your form into I encountered 3 different versions. There's like a small monster, a medium monster, and a large monster, right?
Okay.
And the small monster is very basic. You're kind of quick. Let me see if I can try to remember the specifics of the power-ups, because I did not have an opportunity to take notes on this game.
Sure.
But the small monster had the ability to cloak itself eventually. So like there's certain like security cameras that may have like missile launchers on them that will kill you in one hit, or maybe there's a section that you have to get through where you're trying to dodge somebody that has a weapon that could kill you. So you could cloak, sneak past them, and move on to the next thing, or turn around and destroy them. The medium-sized monster has the ability to kind of like do like a battering ram, where you launch all of your tentacles at an object, and depending on what the object is made of, it'll destroy it. Or if it's a human, you'll like pierce them with these tentacles and destroy them. And then there's another version where when you're larger, there's like an upgrade of that where you can kind of break through even larger objects. You also get the ability to do like a mind control, where so you can like kind of shoot a tentacle under the floor and weave it up as like a ladder, and then like just jack into somebody's brain. And now
that's
you can,
cool.
Yeah, now you can move that person, and that you have access to their weapons if they have weapons, or if they have like a key card. And every screen that you encounter is basically a puzzle, right? So you're looking at this screen, and yeah, you can just kind of walk right in and just wreck shit, but that might not necessarily be the solution. Like maybe there's drones flying around on the screen that are going to get you if you don't sneak in underneath versus above. Or perhaps there's there's like these mechs. Kind of reminds me of like the power walkers from Aliens.
Oh, sure.
You know what I'm talking about?
I do, actually.
Yeah, so it's kind of like that, but with like a chain gun attached to it, right? And that'll just destroy you too.
Deadly.
And then there's some situations where, maybe you'll like literally kill everybody, but you realize, oh shit, like I needed to take control of somebody's mind. Well, you can still do that even if they're dead. Like you can still possess dead people, walk them around, and accomplish what you need. It's a really unique game, man. It wasn't perfect, by any means, I would say. The lack of a map I found to be kind of frustrating at points. Obviously a monster can't read a map. I get that.
Yeah, but you should be able to.
You should as a player. And plus, like, this monster obviously has the wherewithal to know that it needs to go in and like reclaim all these different biological samples to upgrade itself. So like there's a level of disbelief that you can kind of suspend.